Last week with the Concierge of Small Business Lending, we stumbled across an idea that we hope you all appreciate. We're going to have the one and only Bo Eckstein highlight different businesses and talk about why they may or may not be a fit for you. So, Bo, this is going to be a fun series, man. Which one are we talking about first?
So we're going to go into a pest control business and why I like this industry a lot. And this is what I would call a boring business and a business that most people would be like, I don't really want it. But
Yeah.
I think once you get into this business model, so let me figure out how to share my screen again and let's see if it works this time. Okay, let me
Yep.
go presentation mode real quick. It should work. All right. There we go. All right. So the ultimate boring business. It may be boring, but it offers super sexy recurring revenue with semi-involved ownership. All right. So semi-involved ownership. What does that really mean in this business model? It means you're going to hire the technicians and you're going to hire a general manager. You could also do this as an owner operator where you're acting as a general manager. But if you want to be less involved, that's what you would do is hire a general manager. So this pest control business, it's a franchise that we're talking about. Average investment is approximately $100,000. You can start this business without a brick and mortar location. Entrepreneurs top 500 list 2023, 1.5 million average gross sales for top 25% quartile. Obviously, you're going to look at the FDD when you would be looking at a franchise like
And just
this.
so the audience knows, FDD is Franchisor Disclosure Doc. Is that right?
You got it. Franchise disclosure document. And so some of the reasons I like this business, let's see if I put on slide 3. This is what they do. They don't just do pests, they do rodent, wildlife, snakes, those kind of things. They handle a lot of different sectors within the pest control, bed bugs. There's like 30 different sections they handle. So this business model, 80% of the residential pest control business is typically recurring revenue because you're gonna spray quarterly or monthly.
Right.
But this franchise in particular, they do not only do they do residential, they do commercial. And the best part about this particular brand is they niched out and they get government contracts. So
Mm.
they're really good. At their corporate location, they have a person that all they do is scour for these government contracts. And so this could be like, taking care of rodent control at a public train facility or BART or
Mm.
something like that, right? And so government contracts are very good. Those could also be recurring. So this business to me is ideal. You could be all in to start out the business at $100,000. That's franchise fee, working capital, first truck, first technician. Now, if you're hiring a manager from the start, you would beef that number up. But if it was an owner operator model, that would be $100,000 average investment. So going back here, you have 3 revenue streams: residential, commercial, and government. Recurring revenue, nearly 80% of residential clients are recurring, and no brick and mortar requirements. You can start this from home. Now, obviously, as you grow and you're getting more trucks and more technicians, you're probably going to want office space. But to me, this is an ideal business model um, for anybody out there. And so, what would be scary about this? Well, I don't have pest control industry experience. Well, that's why you invest in a franchise, because they're going to train you. Certain states have different licensing rules, so depending on where you're located, you want to check and figure out what would be required. But they have solutions for that as well, where they have local people that can act as the license holder in your area until you got licensed. That's very typical what you're seeing in HVAC franchise models and so forth, where you need somebody that's licensed. So depending on the state, that would be one caveat to look into. But to me, this kind of meets all of my criteria for a good business. Very scalable, hire more technicians.
Yeah. The thing that I like about this that hasn't been said, and this really started with our conversation last week, we were thinking about the full-time employees making good figures, 6 figures. What is something they could start, build, and ultimately exit into. And this really feels to me as something that you could start building, while you're still working, right? Whether you've hired an executive or a manager, or you're doing it off hours, it offers that income stream. And you're absolutely right. Pest control, even I know that pest control, you get these monthly, quarterly drips, right? So it's not all net new sales. So I think that's really sexy, something you could build up for 2 or 3 years as you look to exit your business. You don't need a physical location. You can, right? If you want to go that route, but you don't have to have one. Um, Different income streams, whether it be residential, commercial, government, is exciting. Um, it was eco-friendly. Again, something you had on the second slide, eco-friendly, a big selling advantage, I'm sure, to lots of folks. Um, I just love the idea that you and I are talking about boring businesses that maybe really opens the eyes to folks. Because again, if I was still working, I really love the idea of having a business produce cash. Cash goes into real estate, kind of that nice cycle. Um, and I think a lot of folks could find a boring business, whether it's pest control or HVAC or something we'll talk about in subsequent episodes. Um, I think there's a lot here.
Yeah, I think I love the segment that we're doing because I think it's just going to open up your mind. Like, okay, all in 100 grand. And guys, if you really think about that, let's even say it's even 150 grand. If we can finance 90% of that, what are you stroking a check for to get into this business? Not that much. So by
Well, I think
pairing,
hold on.
yeah,
I think that's important because we've said 100 grand probably 5 times in this episode. What we've only said once now, we're going to say it twice, is it doesn't have to be all of your 100 grand. It could be a loan.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we call that good debt. Okay, it's good debt as long as you're going to run the business. Now, this type of business is not going to just automatically. I mean, sure, the franchise has a lot of support, marketing. That's what you would explore to figure out like what are they going to do on our behalf. But you're still the face of the company. You're still the person that's guaranteeing the loan. You're on the hook. But if you have the skill sets to delegate and to run a team and be an effective manager and owner, and potentially hire a manager to do most of that, then business ownership could be right for you. And if it's not this business, there's a model that fits everybody. And that could be as simple as owning vending. That could be as simple as owning, something else that's pretty passive. We have another business model that they put out. It's extremely boring business. They put out like have you ever been to like a Goodwill where you don't drop
Mhm.
off clothes and they have
Yeah.
bins? Well,
Yep.
we work with a franchise company. They have bins. They build relationships with school districts. They put the bins there. People turn in their clothes, and you actually just sell the clothes and the product wholesale, and it's actually a pretty interesting business model. Extremely semi absentee as well. So there's businesses that are more labor intensive. I think it's good to just kind of get a general feel. I
Yeah.
personally think like the home service category with recurring revenue is probably a good place to start looking because then you're not always on the hunt, right? Because you have a book of business, and then
Yeah.
you can own more territory, you can buy more locations, you can utilize SBA on your expansion and potentially get 100% on buying into more territories. Potentially, you can buy existing um, non-franchise locations and convert them into this franchise and do roll-ups, and then you can create a significant top-line revenue and hopefully pretty good margin. So that's
There
what
you
you'd
go.
be exploring as you're going through the due diligence on looking at any of these type of business models.
So if somebody wanted to reach out to you about the pest control business and actually who the operator or franchisor is in this case, or wanted to talk about other boring businesses, Bo, how do they reach out?
onerentalmeeting.com, onerentalmeeting.com. We have a whole process to take you through this. I have a team of different franchise consultants we work with. So we really kind of help you navigate, and we have you do a profile. We call it a business assessment. It's actually called the Zoracle. We do some intake on what sectors you'd be interested in. And really, I tell people, look, because there's a lot of people that want to do business acquisitions, right?
Mhm.
And the fact of the matter is it's hard to find a good cash flowing business that you can finance with SBA. A lot of times they're overpriced. They don't report all their income, and that's why a franchise is a great investment opportunity for even an experienced operator. but also for somebody that needs the training wheels, because it's
Yep.
like, it's going to help you be successful.
Very, very cool. I look forward to which one we uncover next week. But again, onerentalmeeting.com. Yes, he created a URL just for our community. Bo, you're amazing.
All right. Thank you, guys.